Hey everybody, Jeff here from GoJo Media. Welcome to Coffee and Chat. Today I'm going to have some raisin bread, and as you can see it's got to be toasted because I like it toasted, so I'm going to do everything while the camera is rolling today. So we'll get that happening in the background. Boil the water, which is almost boiled. And I'm going to grind my coffee beans. Today I've got Victoria organic coffee. I've got another camera going as well. Yay! Victoria organic coffee. Going to make a bit of noise. Love the smell of those beans. Those roasted beans. Shake it round a bit. Get it ground up pretty well. I don't like the coffee grinds to be too big, so I let it grind for a fair bit. Get them nice and small. Put them into my French press. I don't want to pour the whole lot in, that'll be crazy. My spoonful. Spoonful, spoonful, spoonful. I might put that back in there. Okay, I'll deal with that later because I've got to do more than that. Let's do it all on camera, why not? I've got to boil the water, get that happening. Get a mug. Water into the mug. Let that sit for a minute, like I've shown before. Okay, I'm going to have on my toast. I've got a raisin bread, fruit toast. I don't know what it's called in different countries around the world, but usually in Australia it's called raisin bread. But I'm going to put butter and honey on my raisin bread. I use butter, not margarine, and in this case, salt reduced. I don't like salt reduced. That's all we've got. What have we got here? Dairy soft. That's one of them. There's all sorts of butter products that are available. We usually go for the ones that have been softened somehow or other. Kind of wonder how these things have been softened sometimes. Of course, the old traditional butter is really hard and almost unspreadable when it comes out of the fridge. So yes, leave it out of the fridge and let it be spreadable, or leave it in the fridge and buy one of these products. Who knows what sort of stuff we're putting into ourselves these days with what they do to all the different, like all the margarines out there. We tend to stay away from margarine, so even if it's canola based ones, vegetable oil based ones, polyunsaturated, monounsaturated, we just stay completely unsaturated and go with the butter. Water into the coffee. And I know there's lots of opinion about butter versus margarine. Butter's fatty and all that, but I'd rather stay away from all those weird fats and stick with the one that I know. And the toast just popped up, excuse me. There you go, nicely browned. Put it down here. What do you reckon about that? Better get that water off there. I don't want to put the toast on to get it damp in any way. Get rid of that. Okay, while the coffee's brewing, we'll toast the raisin bread. I can smell the coffee. I can smell the raisin bread. Wow, this is good. Get that butter onto the raisin bread. Okay, so what's been happening this week since last we talked? All sorts of good things, but in particular, we've been up the country. We were away for the complete weekend. It was not a long weekend as in a holiday weekend, but Jenny and I she took off a Friday and Monday, and we went up the country to help out her sister, who is currently fixing up her house to sell it. And the house was not finished off when it was originally built, so I'm helping out to finish it off. So we spent the whole weekend doing architraves around doors, around windows, the timber work that goes around windows and doors. We call it in Australia architraves. Later on, the skirtings have got to be done, which is the woodwork that goes where the floor meets the wall. So the skirting that runs along that joint, got to do all of those, the whole house. It's a 2-story house, it's big, and there's a lot of work. And I spent 4 days doing just architraves. And they're all fancy stuff, all with a pattern in it, all mitres everywhere, at the tops of the doors. All sorts of timber work had to be done, so to get that done. But I did most of it. There's only a little bit left over. Top of my raisin bread, I'm going to have golden nectar, organic, real leatherwood honey. Check that out. It's really tasty honey. As you can see, I've got a fair way into the jar. So honey on raisin bread, because this raisin bread is not sweetened. It's actually gluten-free bread, and it's very tasty. I like it a lot. Don't put on too much honey, but enough to get the flavour happening. What do you think about using honey instead of sugar? Some people will put honey in their tea and coffee instead of sugar. I don't use any sugar in my tea and coffee, so I don't have that kind of problem. I don't have that great decision making to concern me. So there you go. There's my black coffee. Black coffee, so no milk and no sugar. There you go. The aromas are really happening now. I've got the honey happening on top of the raisin bread and the coffee. Really going for it this morning. That is so good. Wow. Okay, so yes, we've had a very busy time and using muscles that I haven't used in a little while. But it was great running up and down stairs because it was 2-story. That was so good. So tasty. I'm going to put the honey away. So an incredibly busy weekend. The weather, we're heading into winter, but I operate my saw out the back of my car, and so it's a portable setup. It's a really good saw that you'll see it in the DIY videos. And but I have a portable setup, so I can go anywhere and I can do that kind of thing, and then move on to the next job, the next house, next whatever, and set it all up again and continue on. So that's been our very busy weekend, and hence nothing to do with YouTube. Where we were really out of range of any sort of mobile networks. It's completely disconnected for the whole weekend. So there was nothing from me in comments, anything happening, and I was not able to get videos ready for the weekend other than the Friday one with Luke. Put this away. So that was our weekend. And what's coming up is I'm hoping to do a couple more food reviews for this coming weekend. And here in Australia, something that's a bit different, I'm led to believe, anyway it's a bit different, is that KFC has a breakfast menu at a couple of different locations. In Victoria, they're mainly in the big outlets, so I happen to have one down at Eastlink, in the truck station, whatever it's called, the huge place where there's lanes and lanes and lanes of petrol pumps. And KFC and McDonald's have got a drive-through. But in the KFC, on both sides, either if you're northbound or southbound, in that KFC, you can get your breakfast at KFC. So I'm going to give it a try, because at most KFC outlets, they don't do breakfast. So, that's so tasty. Yes, I'm going to give it a try and see how their breakfasts compare with the stuff that comes out of McDonald's and Hungry Jack's. So wait for that video this coming weekend. That'll be on the main channel, of course. I've got the cat at my feet here. Tomorrow I am going for a job. I'll get the cat. Oh, should I handle the food and handle the cat? Who cares? Who wants to see Harry? I wonder if Harry would like raisin bread with honey on it. Have a close up with the GoPro. Hi, Harry. What do you think of that? Oh, and the battery just died, so sorry about that. So Harry has disappeared in the meantime. And I've washed my hands. I've cleaned up before I eat any more. So fortunately I haven't lost too much of that video that I was just doing, but I've got to get my brain back on track with where I was going at that point in time. And it was about the job for tomorrow. I do like that. It will be a maintenance job in a nursing home. Doing all sorts of things. I'm yet to find out what it might be, assuming that I get the job, mind you. So the job requires, for the application part, a police check. And I don't know how it operates in different parts of the world, but here in Australia, to go for jobs in nursing homes, working with children, working with prisoners, several other different categories, you have to have a police check. And you give all your information into the police, as in where you live, details to prove who you are. Who you say you are is who you really are. And so therefore, like driver's license, birth certificate, passport, if you've got a passport, stuff like that to prove your identity, and then they do a police check on your background. And of course, if it comes up that you've been some bad person with a criminal record, then it's unlikely that you'd get a job like the one I'm going for. So hopefully, I hope that my police check comes up with nothing, yeah. Which I'm sure it will. So anyway, that's a part of the process anyway. And then I will be in full-time work for several months. So it's going to be interesting to see how I go keeping up the food reviews and this kind of video on here. Because at this point in time, in a week or two, I might be at work. And I won't be able to stick a camera and lights all over the place and do a coffee and chat review like I do anyway. It might have to be, maybe I can do it in the car or something like that after I've got a coffee at a coffee shop and get a takeaway coffee and anyway, look, I'll work out something But things will change to some extent, assuming I get the job. Okay. We've been watching on TV, on Netflix, The Last Kingdom. Now, I don't know about you, but I love TV drama series. I love movies too, that have as they tackle in their story, in the production, stuff that's going on in the world. And often programs that go a bit too far in that way, so they might tackle racial prejudice, they might tackle the way different groups view other, differences between religions, differences between the way a society works itself. Often those in modern dramas are seen as being politically incorrect. And different groups and different pressure groups will put pressure on those TV producers to tone down what's being shown or to completely get rid of it. But with programs like currently The Last Kingdom, but especially with programs in the past like Babylon 5, I don't know if you ever watched Babylon 5. Now, it's 20 years ago that Babylon 5 was on our TV. But because it was set in an alien environment, Babylon 5 was able to tackle prejudice, because you could go and hate on an alien, an imaginary alien group of people without any backlash, because it's just all fantasy. So, and you could hate the religion that they practiced because it was all just fantasy, and there was no repercussions. So, unlike where you tackle stuff that's in the real world, there's no group out there to argue on their behalf that that sort of thing shouldn't be shown on TV. So Babylon 5 tackled a whole heap of issues that would not normally be tackled, and Star Trek never went anywhere near it. Nowhere near what Babylon 5 did. And that's what I liked about Babylon 5. You can argue all sorts of other things about Babylon 5 that you might not have liked, but in the topic of each episode, there was always some kind of issue, major issue, that was being looked at, and they got away with because of the way it was presented in that alien way. Anyway, so The Last Kingdom is doing a similar thing because it's in history, and those groups don't exist anymore. So it's like the English versus the Vikings, and the different groups within what we now call the UK, all tussling, battling and with each other for power, and why they didn't like each other and all that kind of thing. It's not true history, but it's based around history. So there's elements of truth about it, and I really like the way that they're doing it. And there was a quote, and last night we watched the latest episode on Netflix. It's like you watch one, it comes out weekly, so it's one episode per week. So we watched last night's episode, and the quote was, "From wretch to warrior, love gives a man strength, often at the cost of his mind." It was looking at the context of why guys who work in the fields, because it's a feudal economy, a feudal run system where most of the people work the fields. So these men were working the fields, and why would they leave the fields and their family, their children? Why would they leave that whole environment and the wretches that they were? All they could do was grow enough food to feed themselves, and beyond that there was nothing. Why would they leave that little sense of security and go off and fight for their king in a war, in a battle against another group? Why would they do that? And the argument in The Last Kingdom is that it's all about love. So they love their wife, they love their children, they love their little lifestyle, but they will leave that all behind to go and stand up for their king and go and fight his battles. And it's very, very interesting how they depict that whole thing happening. And of course, the opposite group of people are doing exactly the same thing on their side, and then they all meet in the middle and have a bloodthirsty battle. Okay, we might have all sorts of different thoughts about that and how silly or how great we might think that was. but it's presented in a way where you just can see, well, this is what they did, and this is how they did it, and perhaps this is why they did it. From wretch to warrior, love gives a man strength, often at the cost of his mind. So at the end of it all, a lot of them would go crazy. Yeah, a bit like me. So there you go. Anyway, look, it's a great series as far as I'm concerned. And if you have the chance to watch it on Netflix or wherever else, The Last Kingdom, a bit of UK history with a twist. Okay, so that's that. Wish me luck tomorrow, guys, as I go for this job. I hope I get it, because basically I need the money. And yes, it will make life a lot easier. So I hope I get it. If I don't get that one, I will be applying for more. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you all again very soon. Bye.